everyone, Vickie Magic here with Wake Up, You've Got This. So this podcast is all about just sharing that every single thing that we need to be everything that we ever want to be is actually already within us. And that's my absolute personal belief. So I am a journalist, owner of Matters magazine, and also a internationally accredited life and business coach, which not everybody knows as well. So my business is called My Destiny Designer, and this podcast is really all about inspiring people to wake up to the fact that they do already have this. And today we have an amazing lady by the name of Marney Pearna. And Marney is a kinesiologist, and some of you may not even know what that is. So Marney is going to share with us, first of all, a little bit about what she does and why. Welcome, Marney.
Thank you, Vickie. It's a delight to be here.
Awesome.
So as you said, my name's Marney Pearna. I'm a kinesiologist. I'm also an author and a women's health educator. So my business journey, so to speak, would have started about 15 years ago, where I discovered natural therapies and decided that suddenly I found something worth studying for. So I was a stay-at-home mum, loved being a stay-at-home mum. But towards the end of that, the kids didn't need you as much, so I was starting to look for something to do and fell into natural therapies and trained, and now I'm a natural therapist. So my specialty is kinesiology, which I work with stress management for most people, and kinesiology is one of the natural therapy modalities. So it's possibly more closely aligned to acupuncture because we work a lot with the meridian system, which is the Chinese philosophy of life. Instead of needles, I use emotions.
Ah, awesome. And so if you were to think back to the time when you woke up, when was that and how did that happen for you?
I think it happened behind the scenes and gently, and suddenly you realised that, oh my God, I can do all these amazing things.
Yeah.
So I can actually, my natural therapy journey, part of what I believe is that our life is like a yin-yang circle. Okay, so you have two sides to it. You have your light and your dark, or your, your moon and your sun, and you have a bit of each in both. Okay, so if you can imagine your life being that yin-yang circle, you've got your life experiences on one side, and on the other side you've got your learnings through actual knowledge and study and all that kind of stuff. But that's happening from the day you're born and before. Right, so you're chugging along and your life experiences are happening. Now those two halves join in the middle. And that join in the middle, I believe, to be the wisdom of your heart. So your wake up is happening behind the scenes, and then suddenly something happens and you go, oh my God, I can do this. Yeah. And for me it was, oh my God, I can study, I can do natural therapies. I can start to listen to my intuition and believe it.
Yep.
And not just go, I don't know why that happened.
Yep.
And that to me was that was a journey in itself. Because,
I can imagine.
Coming from the medical model, it was quite an adjustment to trust.
And so when that happened and you did, kind of wake up, how did you respond to realising that?
Shocked initially.
Yep.
Oh my God, is that what that means? Because if you don't know what something means, how do you know when you find it?
Yeah,
and that's what I love with kinesiology as well. When you can identify a trigger or something that's happening in your life, you can take action.
Yep.
So for me, it was that acknowledgement that I've always had angels in my life, but more through a religious background. Mm-hmm. So I've always had guardian angels, and we've always prayed to, St. Christopher and St. Joseph and all these people. But I suddenly realised that was part of the universal wisdom and the thread that bound us all together, and to trust that process.
Yep. And so, waking up and actually realising that you could actually do whatever it is that you wanted to do, which in this case was study, that's made a massive difference to your life, hasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so with the clients that you have, how do you help them?
The main thing I do is facilitate their healing journey. I'm not here to fix them. I'm here to provide support and suggestions as to what might be happening with them. So they come to me, usually they come to a natural therapist nowadays still. They come at the end. They've tried a lot of avenues, they haven't gotten anywhere. someone suggests they go and see someone. At times it's a kinesiologist. Most people like me wouldn't know what it was.
Yep.
At least nowadays you can Google it. When I first discovered kinesiology, you couldn't Google it because
couldn't even spell it.
Well, or say it. You know, that's another one. So they'll come to me and they'll say, look, all this is happening in my life, and you've then got to try and find the domino. So what I do is I sift through what's happening for them, how they're feeling and how they're not coping.
Yep.
And I find the domino. So what is the domino that if you work towards that and you base your goal around the positive, that will have that flow-on effect for them to be able to keep going in their journey.
Yeah, fascinating. And so at the end of working with you, do they leave with clarity? Do they leave with, definition of the future?
They do. One of the hardest things, or the things that aren't so easy with natural therapy, is if you haven't got a physical ailment, so you haven't got a dodgy shoulder or something like that, sometimes it's hard to qualify, am I any better?
Yeah.
All right, so...
And do you work with the dodgy shoulder too?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, cool,
yes.
cool. Just checking.
That's all I was going to work with initially. I wasn't going to do any of this
awesome.
spiritual kind of stuff because it wasn't my mindset at the time. All right, but with a non-structural condition, I'll do a pre and post test. So we'll get them to state their goal, and their goal is always in the positive. So, for example, if they're say they're not coping well emotionally, I might say I cope well under stress. Now that will put their body into a stress reaction, which is what I need, because then I can say to the body, okay, now where are you holding that? What is the emotional blockage or trigger, and what can we do about it? And I do all of that by talking usually to their arm.
Right. That must be fascinating and so rewarding for you to be able to help so many people in this way.
I love it.
Yeah.
And the clients love it as well. I mean, they might think it's a bit wacky.
Yep.
And there is still that misconception that it's a bit of voodooism.
But do you find, because I do, that more and more people are becoming open to waking up, to seeing that actually maybe there is more?
I think they're waking up to the fact that they are all parts of their being and not just their structural or their financial or their family, that their spiritual aspect, in their triangle of life is very, very important. And quite often when your spiritual element is out of whack, you don't feel like who you are. So I'll often get clients who don't feel like I get them to say their name, and that causes them a stress because they don't feel like who they are, who they should be.
Wow. And so if you were to give our listeners a tip, a life tip or a lesson or a gift of something that you learnt that really helped you, what might that be?
I think the initial thing that I've come to realise is to explain to clients about the wisdom of their heart and to know that their journey it's going to change, and that change is okay. Change is often the stress. People don't like change, but if you can embrace not the change but the concept that park that idea for now until it makes sense. You don't have to believe. In fact, you shouldn't believe everyone all the time. Make your own decisions, but make it from an informed basis. So long as you've got some learned experience and knowledge that goes with it, you can make informed decisions. And that's that wisdom of your heart. Yeah.
So is that, would you say, and you said wisdom of your heart, so it's trusting your gut as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're all for that?
Absolutely. Well, you come to all these realisations, as you know, and one of the light bulb moments is the realisation that hindsight is the intuition you didn't listen to.
Yes,
because you say to yourself, "Oh my God, I knew that."
Yeah.
But you haven't. You're either not ready to listen to it.
I knew that, but I didn't trust me.
Yeah. So that's another one. I call them moneyisms. I come up with all these for clients, and they go, "Oh my God, that's a great moneyism."
Yeah, I love moneyism. Love it. So, would you say that you've got this thing called life?
I'm in the process of getting it. You're always going to have changes. You're always going to have light bulb moments. And you're also always going to have a go. So if you don't want to do something or you don't fully understand it, you don't have to understand it straight away. So if you park that idea and say, okay, it doesn't make sense to me yet, it allows you opportunity to come back to it later. So I often ask clients, and I've been asked myself, what makes you happy or what makes me happy? So many people can't answer that. Or even on a basic level. oh yeah, my family, yeah, but do they make me happy? So they're doing this
Sometimes
whole
they make me miserable.
doubting.
Yeah.
So, but it comes back to what makes you personally happy. Now, my belief, and again, it's a Marneyism, that we're here to experience joy and happiness for ourselves first. Then we can share that with other people. So find the joy and happiness in your heart. Do what makes your heart sing, and life will flow better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great tip too. And so if you were to say something that might really encourage our listeners to take on for themselves that thought that they have got this and what they might be able to do to get this more, what might that look like?
Again, it goes back to that trust. We all have circumstances, and your circumstances can change. So your passion may be, well, like me, to now work with people and help them facilitate their healing journey. But I had to study to get there. So although that might have been what I wanted to do, and you also realise that you fit not into a mould, but if you've gone into the health journey or the coaching journey or anything along those lines, you're a caring person. So you need to learn to care for yourself as well.
Yeah.
So honour yourself and look after yourself so that you can look after others.
Yeah.
But you're always in that same kind of field. It just might have shades of the caring aspect. So I've always cared for elderly. I've always had an elderly person to look after. Cared for my babies, my husband, myself, family, elderly parents. So I've always done that aspect. And you take that same authenticity and identity with you in anything that you do. And
because it comes back to, doesn't it? Even on the airline, they say put your own oxygen mask on first, because if you don't, you're dead, and you can't help anyone else. That's right. Yeah. So
but we do make ourselves push.
Yeah.
And I don't. It's probably backtracking, but one of my biggest realizations when I was first opening clinic, I was going to help the world. It's a big realisation to realise the world doesn't want helping. So then you go, okay, well, I'll help my family, and they're not always the best either.
Maybe they don't want helping either.
Pass them on to your friend, your colleagues.
Yeah.
But then you sort of think, well, okay, I've got to also walk my talk. So if I'm saying to my clients and they're in a major meltdown moment, I'll just do this, I know I also have to do that as well when it's required.
Yeah.
And some of that is to step back, step out of the stress. So if they're in the middle of a major stress thing happening in their life, they don't make the best decisions.
No.
Their decisions are not coming from their front cortex. It's coming from old and sometimes outdated memories. So you need to step out of the circle. So physically stepping out of that circle, take a step back and sideways, you're suddenly on a different plane on the universe. So you can kind of look in to what's going on and think, oh, maybe I could do this.
Looks clearer from there, doesn't it?
Same as put a different hat on. I often get clients to physically change hats. So if you're in the middle of this, what hat are you wearing? You might be wearing your mum hat. So take your mum hat on and put your parent hat on or your child hat on. And you get a different perspective.
Yep. And so if you were talking to a listener out there who is, maybe currently in a little bit of overwhelm at this moment, and they definitely are saying, and I've definitely had clients like this myself, saying, look, I don't have time to put my own oxygen mask on because I'm too busy putting the oxygen mask on everyone else. Yeah. What would your reaction to them be?
My reaction to you is that every moment that you don't take heed of the hints and tips that you're getting from your body to say, I'm overwhelmed, I'm burnt out, and the excuse a lot of people use nowadays is I'm too busy.
Yeah.
To me, busy is invisible stress. It's a line I'm going down through at the moment with my talks and stuff, is busyness is just another name for stress. It's just invisible stress.
Yeah, I love
and
that.
It's still draining. But if you don't take the time, you build up what I consider to be a health deficit.
Yeah.
And what will happen is the body will say, okay, I'll give you a bit of space here, but you're going to pay that back. When are you going to pay it? How are you going to pay it?
Maybe through some kind of ailment or...
Well, it will eventually come to a conclusion and your body will say, right, now you've got time. So, you know, listeners would know the time you're a really busy person, you're working a heavy job, you're coming up to holidays, you rush, you're busy. Day one of your holidays, what generally happens? You often get sick.
Yeah.
You come down with something because your body goes, now you have time for me.
Yeah, that's it.
So pay it back.
I love that. And so What's your why? Why do you do this? Why do you do what you do? What's your why?
My why is now because I love doing it. I love being...
But why do you love doing it?
Why do I like it? It gives me personal satisfaction.
Yep.
I believe I'm following my path, so I feel like I'm on the right path.
Yep.
Because if you're not, it just feels awkward. It's always hard. I'm not saying it's always easy. I'm a natural therapist. I'm a one-man show, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes
There are tricky bits.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I'm very gifted and blessed that I have a husband who's always had an income. Even in our darkest time, that 2008, which was our family's year of calamities, he still had a job. So we were still having, money to put food on the table. But it's back then when my business had to become more serious. And it didn't mean that I wasn't taking it serious. It just meant that it had to become financially a little bit more serious as well.
Yep.
And I know there's a good friend of yours and mine, Annie Infinite, who made the statement once at a workshop that I'm totally okay to be paid for my expertise.
Absolutely, because
and if you
you're
can
worth
honour
it.
that and not, I'm just a... Don't be a juster.
Yeah.
Be someone. Take
You're
ownership.
just an amazing person.
I know.
Yeah.
Take ownership of who you are and what you're doing and the change you make for people. And I often believe that we as healers don't always realise the work that we're doing for other people.
And the truth is that if we don't value it, how can they?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have to value it even more so that they can value it more as well. Yeah. And so is there anything that you could think that, aside from what we've spoken about today, that you'd love to share with our listeners?
I think honour yourself. Know when you're in the right spot. Mm-hmm. Even if...
How do you know?
It just, you feel it.
Intuition?
It's
Trust your gut
intuition,
again.
Angel intuitive. It's just, they're such a blessing. And we're given so many signs, Vickie, that we don't realise until we identify the signs. So that's the other one. Identify your guideposts. Like for me, it's totem. So one of my biggest signs is John Farnham's "You're the Voice." Things happen and I think, I'm in the right place. This song's playing again, and then I realise afterwards that it's played a few times at pivotal times in my life. So "You're the Voice" is one of my angel signs. So if I'm doing something new and "You're the Voice" is on, I'm going, yes, this is so the right place for me.
Yeah.
I've totemed seahorses are my totem animal, seahorses and elephants. So if they're involved in what I'm doing, if my colours are involved, you're wearing my colours today, the aqua. And
I chose this.
Yeah, well, there you go. Perfect. Yes. and I have a highlight of magenta. So magenta is the essence of the entrepreneur. So I have the healing with the entrepreneurial aspect to it.
Yeah.
So when something that you're doing gives you joy.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's always easy, because sometimes there's dips. And you've seen that sign or that meme where they're going fishing and they've got someone starting here and they're winning at the top and it's supposed to be a straight line. Murphy's Law likes to play with us quite a bit.
It's never a straight line. No.
And, of course, when you're juggling one ball with Murphy, he says, would you like to juggle a few? So he'll throw a few over to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you need to learn to, one of my concepts that I teach my clients is about stress, all right? So if you can imagine you've got a line running through the middle of your body. On one side you've got a stress bucket, on the other side you've got your life energy. Right, now your life energy is your enthusiasm, it's your get up and go, it's your immune system, it sits right here in the heart chakra, right? If it's low, you don't have capacity or resilience to cope with stress. So it's actually your responsibility to make sure that some of the smaller things that go into your stress bucket don't stay there or don't overflow it. Because everyone has a stress bucket, everyone has a life energy. You need to make sure your life energy is higher than your stress.
And if you were to answer, somebody listening to this might be going, well, how do I fill my life energy bucket side? Because clearly that's one that we need to fill. What advice would you give them as to how they might feel that?
The best one is joy and happiness. One way to build that response back into your body is to smile. Right, now, smiling sounds so basic, and it is, and it's one of my top 10 tips, but smiling releases happy hormones.
Yeah.
Right, and I had a client that I had to train her how to smile again because she needed that. She was very, very low. High stress levels, very low. We couldn't do a lot about some of the stress that was happening in her life. Well, she couldn't. She had no control over it as well. But she could control actions she took, and she didn't fully understand that process until a little bit down the track. But I made her do homework, and her homework was just to smile at herself. Now, when you're low, you don't smile, right? You have a low energy, you present vibrationally.
You don't
quite
feel
low.
like smiling, do you?
No, but that's when you need to. So you need to take some of the gifts out of your memories that have smiles in them and look at them, because they're a gift from the past for you now.
I love that.
To use.
Yeah,
right?
that's gorgeous.
So, or find something. Get on the computer and Google laughing, or Google cute kids, or cute dogs, or something. Find something that makes your mouth smile, because even though your heart and your brain aren't fully connected to smiling, it knows what it means. It knows that when you move those muscles up in a smile, that's hormone release, happy hormones, and it builds again like a memory trigger to keep doing it. Awesome. So smile at the adversity, Cool. Take action as well, but smile at the same time. People often wonder what you're doing.
Smiling and no
then.
action won't work.
No, you've got to take action, and that's the one thing you can't give your clients. You can give your clients.
Do it for them.
No, you can give them as much advice or guides or processes, but they're the ones that have to take action.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it has to be a choice they make.
That learning of the power of choice is huge, isn't it? I've been known to actually release clients that just come and argue the whole time. Have you done this? Oh, no, I didn't do that. It didn't work. Really? Yeah. So I'll just say, well, look. It didn't work, or you didn't work.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they weren't ready for it. So they may as well go away and come back when they are, or maybe I'm that step to the next person. And that's totally okay as well.
We're not everything to everyone, are we? And we learn that. No, we learn that, because otherwise then we're in overwhelm. So we don't want to be that either. So is there something that you would like to gift our listeners for listening today? Is there something?
If they go onto my website, which I know you'll put on the podcast.
Say it anyway.
Okay, it's Kinique, KINIQUE.com. They can download my free de-stress report. So it's just my 10 top simple tips, just précis of them, and it just reminds them that some of these things will help them to cope, because that's what it's about. It's coping and resilience.
A de-stress report.
De-stress report.
I like
it's just
that.
a downloadable
and you've also put here that you would like to offer an emotional healing mist spritzer.
Yes.
I like that.
That's one of my gifts, is being able to create these beautiful healing spritzers for clients and businesses as well.
Yeah, cool. And that's to anyone within Australia?
Yes, well, I can post. I haven't looked into the legalities of posting my sprays and mists overseas at this stage. I probably can. What I've often done for clients overseas is, if they've asked for one of my spritzers, I'll make it up for them. And I'll use a little aromatherapy jewellery. And I'll spray some of the spray, and I'll put a bit of the oil on the locket, which I can post quite easily.
And anyone who has heard emotional healing mist spritzer and is thinking, what is that and why might I need it? Can you just share?
Absolutely. We are vibrational beings. So we vibrate at what we are presenting to the universe at the moment. So we can be coping really well, but there can be an aspect of our life that's not coping as well. So sometimes we need to fill that void. Now, we can fill that void through many ways. We can do it through affirmations. We can do it through essential oils. We can do it with essences, which are the vibrational essence of a product, and that can come from anything at all. So when I have someone that has a lack or a void, I will intuitively choose what needs to go into that mist, and I make it. It's just a little spray bottle with water and alcohol, but I have the essences in there. I have sometimes colour in there. I definitely have an oil in there, because your olfactory senses, which is your sense of smell, is a direct link to your limbic brain. So that product will match the vibrational need or requirement in the person.
And so the offer is for a session, and then they also get the
spray as well. And I can do that through online or face to face.
So it doesn't matter where they are, and the cost of that is just $149.
That's right.
Fantastic. All right. Now, is there anything else at all that, in closing, you would like to share?
The main thing is ask for help, look for help. There's help out there, and you don't know where it is. So just Google, where can I find help?
Yeah.
Right. And if you put some of how you're feeling, so do you need help emotionally? Is it physically? Is it spiritually? Is it mentally? And I believe the right person turns up for them.
Yeah.
And I'm in awe constantly in my clinic that people I don't know, who don't know me and often do not know kinesiology, can appear at my clinic, and in my room somewhere is something that helps them. And for me, I'm a storyteller, so a lot of what I use in my clinic, or everything I use in my clinic, I attach the story to it. So I'll read the story of the oil, or read the story of the essence, or whatever it is.
Yeah, fascinating.
Even the angel cards, like I love the oracles that come with it, because there's more information that is good to know, and it matches the person, and they'll go, oh my God, that's so true. I mean, I can remember one time in clinic, I had a client in there and it said it needed homeopathic remedy. I went, okay, so I pointed to where my homeopathic remedies are, and no, it wasn't there. And I went, oh. In my head, I'm going, are you sure? That self-doubt comes in. And eventually around the room, it came to this spot in the room. Now, my headspace was saying, this is not going to end well. Yep. My energy space was saying trust. And I go, this is getting harder, because you're presenting, you don't want to show that to the client. So anyhow, I went to this spot and I opened the drawer, and lo and behold, there was some vibrational energy. It was a little bottle of holy water that my daughter had brought back from Italy when she'd gone on a school trip. And it was specifically for Francis of Assisi. And I took it out and I said to the lady client at the time, I said, oh my God, this is Francis of Assisi. He's the patron saint of animals. Well, my client just lost it. She just broke down. She was so emotional. Her dog had passed away. Now, I'd had no idea.
Yeah.
But that she needed that. She needed that connection to know that her dog was with her in her journey.
Yeah, and you had to trust that you were being led the right way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because you self-doubt yourself. Yeah, this is, oh my God, why? And why am I saying this? Why is this showing up?
Yeah.
But you just learn. And
trust.
you don't automatically say things that will hurt or harm. And I'm a firm believer that you don't prejudge the future. No. You just say, this is what is showing, and you have choice again. We come back to that human thing of choice.
Yeah. In every moment.
Yeah.
I love, one of my favourite sayings is that every second is a second chance.
Absolutely. I like that.
Yeah, I love that.
I might have to borrow that.
You can have it.
Thank you.
Because it's not mine.
No.
I got it somewhere, but I love it. Yeah, on the internet somewhere. But it is, and that's all about the power of choice. And clearly you're a big believer in that as well. Yeah. So, Marney, thank you so much for coming along today. Really appreciate your being here, and love some of the treasures that you've shared with us today. The Marneyisms that you've shared with us today. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vickie, and thank you for having this as an opportunity for us to share our gifts and your gifts with the world as well.
Absolute pleasure. So, Vickie Magic here. Wake up, you've got this. Signing off.